Alright, so I finally got Beckham down for a nap, so let's try to crank out this video before he wakes up. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel today. Today we are going to be going over the Origins Game Fair 2024 preview that Board Game Geek released on their website. I think most of us probably already know this, but being within the board game space, there are lots and lots of conventions that happen every year, all the way from, you know, like the Dice Towers conventions and Origins and PAX and obviously Gen Con. Like there's lots of these really big events that happen every single year. And normally at these events, there are games that are released, either kind of like teasers, prototypes of games, or games that, you know, have been released in other countries that haven't yet been released here in America. And so that's kind of what that is kind of a big portion of what some of these events are about. And so Board Game Geek released, they kind of tend to do these little releases for these big events, just kind of letting everybody kind of know the games that are scheduled, kind of the hot games that might be there, new games that might be there. And so they did just release, or they did release about a month ago, their Origins Game Fair preview. And so these are kind of the games that are kind of set to be released or coming out, or games that will be there that we can either get our hands on or be able to take a look at. And so as I was kind of going through this list, I was like, ooh, there are a handful of these that I'm really excited about. I'm like, you know what, let's just do a video going kind of through these games, kind of sharing the ones that particularly are kind of speaking to me and ones that I would be excited about if I was going. Unfortunately, I'm not going to Origins. I really am hopeful that I was hopeful that I'd make it to Gen Con. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to Gen Con this year, but I do think I'm going to be able to make it to PAX Unplugged at the end of this year. So fingers crossed that I can at least make it to that one. So I'm not going to Origins, unfortunately, but if I was going to Origins, these are the games that like I would kind of be not running to, but walking very quickly to try to check out, get my hands on, and see. So this list here that Board Game Geek released, there are 100 games. So obviously lots of different games, lots of different genres that we're going to be going through. But I'm just going to be showcasing the eight games that really stood out to me and that were my favorite after going through this list. These lists are obviously kind of hard to make, and it's kind of hard to describe what each game is going to be like, because lots of these games, there's not a ton of information out about them. Lots of times there's not reviews, there's not really much information other than kind of the theme, a little bit about the mechanisms, and then like the artwork. So kind of going into these are just games that for me kind of stood out to me, and games that I really want to get my hands on and kind of try out. I guess games that are just kind of speaking to me personally. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the first one that stood out to me, which was Charcuterie. Now Charcuterie was, I forget what platform it was on, but it was a crowdfunded project last year, I believe. It wasn't too long ago, but the little caption, it says, chefs compete drafting meals and more to create the most delicious charcuterie board. Man, if I can talk today. And this one just looks so cute. I love the theming in this game. So charcuterie board, I love personally. I'm not really any good at it, but I love trying to create charcuterie boards. But I especially love it when I go over to other people's houses and they have like nice charcuterie boards. It's just like they're so like aesthetically pleasing and so fun. So I love that somebody took that concept and put it into a board game. Here down in the mechanisms, it lists as I cut, you choose, set collection, and tile placement. Love all of those, and I love the artwork in this game, and I love the little boards, how it looks like actual like wooden boards that you're placing like your meats and your cheeses and your fruits on. It looks so fun. So I really want to kind of get my hands on a finalized copy, see what it ended up looking like. So something that I am really interested about this game is because the way you place things will score you points, but where you're actually placing your food that you're collecting, it's on just a plain like wooden board. So I'm curious, I don't really know too much about how you actually score. I don't know if you place based on, like you score points based on the other things that you place around it, but there's also no real like defining grid system that you're placing on. So that's why I'm interested this one to see kind of how that scoring element actually works into gameplay, and if your boards really do look pretty by the end of it, or if it kind of just looks like a big mess trying to place just for scoring purposes. So that's why I'm really interested in this one and would like to try this one out, just to kind of see how it ends up actually working out with this one. So jumping over to the next one here, the next booth that I would most definitely not run but walk very quickly to would be the Allplay booth. So if you're familiar with Allplay games, Allplay has their bigger box games, which are actually smaller than like a standard kind of game now. They're like about this big. Does that make any sense? And then they have their small box games, which are like about this big. Does that look like a square? But they're actually coming out with a kind of an even smaller set of games. And so the next, I kind of am grouping them together. But there's Fairy, Panda Panda, and I believe that there's a third one. I might be mistaken, but I know there's a handful of them that should be coming out. If not at Origins, they should be coming out soon. But yeah, I really am interested because I really enjoy Allplay games. My favorite Allplay game so far that I've played has been River Valley Glassworks. This one's my favorite so far. This is my favorite Allplay game. But yeah, I'm always on the lookout for small card games, especially with my kids. Adeline has kind of gotten to the point in her gaming experience that she realizes that she really likes card games. So with Addie saying I really like card games, I've been kind of trying to hunt down and find card games that she really likes. Right now our family favorite is Trio. We've been diving into Trio, playing Trio so often. So I'm always kind of looking for card games right now, and the fact that Allplay, which is a company that I really love, is coming out with, a handful of card games, that makes it kind of an instant interest for me. I love the artwork on these two. They're really cute and kind of like whimsical. But yeah, I'm always down to try Allplay games. So these two, the Fairy and the Panda Panda, would be ones that I would definitely want to check out. So Mycelia is another one that was actually over on crowdfunding last year. And it was one that I got really close to backing. I decided not to because I kind of wanted to see how everything, I usually, if you follow the channel, then you know, I really don't back a ton of games. It really takes a lot for me to back a game. So this is one that I passed on because I just wanted to kind of see how it hit. So the fact that it's actually going to be there, I really would love to kind of check it out, get a gameplay in, see how I feel about it. I'm so shocked, like mushrooms all of a sudden just came out of nowhere. I feel like so many games are like garden themed or mushroom themed or gnome themed. I know there's like a couple of like gnome mushroom games that are coming out soon. I would never have guessed, like looking at a mushroom, I never would have been like, yeah, you know what? That would make a really good board game theme. But it totally works. I really like the way that this one looks. So in this one, it says Mycelia is a dynamic game of tactics in a competition for space and resources to create your own mushroom kingdom. The game follows the life cycle of a fungi, a journey of creation, expansion, death, and rebirth. In game terms, growing mushroom to score points, scoring them to expand your network, and eventually seeing them decay to unlock special actions. That theming, like again, just looking at a mushroom, I never would have thought, oh, that's like not gonna make a good board game theme. But reading the description of that, you're like, oh no, like that sounds really interesting. I love the botanical like illustrations that they've done for this game as well. It looks almost like a science book, like if you open up and you have a science book and it's like, this is this classification of mushroom. And I love it. I feel like this is one that like as you play it, you'll like actually learn more about mushrooms. And kind of come to an appreciation of mushrooms. But yeah, I love the board that you're growing your mushrooms on. I love the artwork in it. It looks really, really fascinating and interesting. And the more I look at it, the more I'm like, maybe I should have backed this one. Maybe I should do another video of games I regret not backing. Because so many board gamers do like, games I backed this month or something. And I'm over here like, I haven't backed anything in a long time. So instead of games that I get, I instead am just left with lots of regrets. Many regrets about board games. So another one that caught my eye is, I think it's pronounced SETI. I'm not actually sure. Is it SETI? I think it's either SETI or SETI. Or maybe it's maybe it's like a different way that I don't know how to pronounce, but it's Search for oh my goodness, extraterrestrial intelligence. The main reason why I'm interested in this one is because it's a CGE game, and I love CGE. You want a snack? Okay, I'll get you a snack.
I want you to open them.
Oh, okay.
I love this game.
Oh, you love that game? So it says it's a Euro game for 1 to 4 players, and you'll lead a scientific institution tasked with searching for traces of life beyond planet Earth. The game draws inspiration from current or emerging technologies and efforts in space exploration. Players will explore nearby planets and their moons by launching probes from Earth while taking advantage of ever-shifting planetary positions. So looking at this board, I assume that either the board will be shifting in some sense, either by, physically moving planets, or maybe like the board spins a little bit. But I love that mechanism. Obviously, I think Last Light was the last one that did something like this that I can think of. I mean, I know there's lots of games, but I'm thinking about like the most recent. I think the most recent game that I'm aware of where like the board actually shifts around, I think was Last Light. I might be wrong. Tell me in the comments if there's one that's even more recent than that does that. But looking at this, I'm not entirely sure if it shifts or if you're just moving things around, but I really like working with game boards where the board itself is shifting or changing, and you as a player have to adapt to that. Obviously with this being space, I personally like space themes. They're not my favorite, but I do like them and I do enjoy them. But yeah, I think my main interest here is because it is a CGE game, and I really like CGE games for the most part. And I mean, just look how cool the sun looks in that picture. Like it looks like it's glowing with like the artwork around it. I don't know. I'm excited. I really want to kind of check it out, see what it's all about. So yeah, so that is, it's either SETI or SETI. I have no idea. The search for oh my goodness. Clearly I cannot speak English. Extraterrestrial intelligence. Kind of got it. So this next one here, I wouldn't be able to consider myself Board Game Buzz if I didn't add this one to the list. But that is Honey Buzz Fall Flavors. Now I know that there's kind of been a little bit of hiccups in regards to the delivery of this game. From my understanding of like the updates on the crowdfunding project is it will get delivered hopefully soon for backers, and then hopefully they'll be able to, kind of push through and continue to produce this without any other hiccups. Basically an expansion to Honey Buzz, just adding, I think it's like an overlay, so it's like a fall autumn overlay to the base game. So right here it says Fall Flavors is an expansion that introduces 5 new modules for Honey Buzz. You can mix and match these modules to the game in any combination. And I love that. I love when a game introduces modules that you're like, okay, I want to play with this module this time, or maybe this one and this one, or being able to swap things in and out to kind of get different feels and different vibes from the same game. Those are my favorite types of expansions that just add kind of more goodies, more things you can kind of swap in and out. Fall is my favorite flavor. Fall is my favorite season. And so to have Honey Buzz, I could have the spring, like when it's springtime, I can play the spring version of Honey Buzz, and then during the fall, I'll be able to have my like fall expansion with the pumpkins and with the leaves and with the, getting ready for winter. So yeah, I'm very, very much excited about this expansion. The next game that I'm looking forward to is Draft and Write Records. So Draft and Write Records, I had heard a little bit about it, I want to say last year, maybe even, I feel like I've been hearing about it for a while. But Jenna over the Board Game Garden, she had the opportunity to go to the Gamers Ranch, and she was able to, play a lot of games, and she obviously took a really great vlog while she was there. I'll try, if I remember, I'll link it in the description below. Definitely go check it out and check out her channel. Go give her a follow. She's awesome. But so Jenna, while she was there at the Gamers Ranch, she actually was able to play this game, and she took a little bit of a vlog while she was doing it. And remember, I saw like, I don't think she had like the cover in it, so I just kind of saw a little bit of like her mat and what she was doing. And I was like, what is that game? And so I looked into it more, and I was like, oh, it's Draft and Write Records. And it looks really interesting. I really like the theme. I've kind of been getting into like singer-songwriter like theming vibes, like a lot, like especially like in lots of the movies I watched. Like I watched one of the movies that I'm obsessed with right now. What is it called? Oh yeah, Daisy Jones and the Six. I watched that, and I'm like, I am obsessed now. I think I've seen it like 3 times now. It's so good. But anyway, so like having kind of like rock and roll style in a game, I'm very much kind of drawn into this. I believe it is a roll and write game, and you are, I think, let me double check. I thought you were like getting bands and placing them on certain places. Let's see. Do you have what it takes to hit it big time? Can you take your band from performing in your parents' basement to the largest stage and around the world? Draft your lead singer, musicians, production, and backstage staff. Arrange them in the most harmonious ways to unlock more fans, money, and opportunities. Plan your schedule, prioritize your assets, and select your travel routes as you go. I really love the art in this game too. And look at the board here. So I love how on the board it shows like the different venues I assume that you're going to. But yeah, I'm always kind of on the lookout for a good roll and write. I think my favorite roll and write is still Welcome To. I love Welcome To. But I don't know, this one might beat it for me. This one, I don't know, just the theming sounds really fun. Trying to like draft musicians, trying to kind of draft your crew, your own personal crew, to try to become like the most powerful or the most points. It looked really interesting, and I really loved when, like I said, when Jenna was kind of showing off the game a little bit in her vlog. I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. So the next one up on the list is Layers. Layers from KTBG. I'm sorry, every single time I say their name, I want to say the KGB, and it's not the KGB, the KTBG, which means it's kids table board gaming. And so Layers, I am so interested in this one. So in the description of this game, it says you're basically trying your best to work your way through a layer, okay, like a dungeon or something, that your friend, or I guess not your friend, your opponent has placed little obstacles in your path, whether it's traps or monsters or something. And so you're trying your best. It says you have to complete the tricky labyrinth your opponent has created, full of dead ends, traps, enchanted monsters. And if you can't find it, and if you can find it, valuable treasures. That just sounds like so much fun. Basically, like sitting down, you create a path for your friend full of traps, and your friend has to go through trying their best to find the treasure. And like I said, I think if you flip over a monster card, I'm sure you can probably use your tools that you've collected or something to try to defeat that monster. So you're trying to make your way through the path. I am curious how it plays as the opponent, the person who is like laying out the trap. I don't know if you just lay it out and then sit back and watch them go through, or if you're actively placing things out as they're moving through. Just based on that, it sounds like it would be more fun to be the person who's actually going through. You kind of have that tension of, what tile am I flipping over right now? But yeah, so I'm curious to see kind of how this plays. Knowing the way that my kids play games and the way they interact, I think this would just be so much fun for them. All right, so coming into the final game that I am particularly excited about is Dabba Walla. I really hope I pronounced that right. But basically, you are journeying through Mumbai trying to deliver lunch boxes to people who I assume are at work or just throughout the city. So down here in the description, it says, every morning in Mumbai, over 5,000 workers dressed in white swarm out to deliver more than 200,000 dabbas. Which are basically lunch boxes to the offices in the Indian metropolis. Now it's time to join the Dabbawala on their daily journey through Mumbai. I love the theming of this game. I think that is just so fun. So it's called Dabbawala Mumbai Food Express. We'll be, I believe, collecting lunch boxes, which here in the picture you can see they have yellow ones, red ones, green ones, probably placing them onto your own personal bike. There's probably balancing issues or stuff that you have to kind of manage as you're placing the tiles on, and then traveling to the certain homes to then drop off those meals. So that just sounds, the whole theming, I think they could do so many fun pathways with this theming, especially trying to keep your bike balanced, or trying to, I don't know if that has it in it, but I would imagine it would. It always amazes me how many, actual real life events or things that we see in nature or anything, people are able to take those and then transfer them over into a board game. It's always fun for me to, it kind of helps you have more of an appreciation for, you know, different cultures or different it helps you see things that you wouldn't normally see or notice, I also think. So I think that this just, I don't know, it sounds fun, it looks cute, I really love the cover, like the cover is so fun. Alright, so those were the games based off of the list that was on Board Game Geek. Those were the 8 that I was particularly interested in. I'm kind of grouping both of like the smaller Allplay games into basically one package with that. So those are 8 games that I am looking forward to. I'm really depressed now that I'm not going to Origins and that I won't be able to see these in person, but hopefully I'll be able to see them one day. If you personally are going to Origins and you have any games that you are excited about, whether it be any of these that I just mentioned or any other ones that you know will be there or that were on the board game list, please let me know what ones you are personally excited about. I have a feeling that there might be more board games released or kind of teased or something that you'll be able to get your hands on that are not on this list. So again, if any of you do go to Origins and happen to see anything cool, please send me a picture and let me know. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you enjoyed it and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it would mean so much if you could do that. Really helps support us in everything that we're doing. But until next time, we hope you have a great rest of your day and we'll see you later.